Okay, hi. Um, tonight's play is Trojan Women by Euripides. So, alright. Euripides, was born in 484 BC. Around, the time of the Persian invasion of Greece. Um, he died in 406 BC around the same time as Sophocles. And, that's when Athens surrendered to Sparta. So he's just like born between these two wars. That's when he lived his life. His inspirations were Aeschylus and Sophocles. Um, he wrote 92 plays, 17 of them survive, which is more than any classical playwright. I believe he won 7 competitions. Um, Aristotle actually said he's the most tragic of the poets. Um, Interesting because I didn't find this play or Medea to have the tragic qualities that Agamemnon, and Antigone, and Oedipus Rex had. But um, he he did criticize him for his handling of plot and his protagonist and Aristophanes, the comedic playwright who wrote Lysistrata, criticized his wordplay and his paradox and all that kind of stuff. However, he did have this simplicity of dialogue. He was a freethinker. He defended civil rights and was a critic of religion. So this play is part of a Trojan War cycle. I couldn't find the names of the plays in the cycle, but they're related by theme, not plot. One of the background sources for this is the Iliad. Myths had a profound influence on the Greeks, sociologically and historically and all that kind of stuff. Jean-Paul Sartre wrote I believe he wrote an adaptation of this play. Some of the notable productions: the Arc Theatre Company in 2003, the Stratford Shakespeare Festival in 2008. These are all, and there's a movie, Trojan Women. This play was written in Greece in 415 BC. It's a classical tragedy. It begins with Athena and Poseidon discussing ways to punish the Greek armies because they condoned Ajax for raping Cassandra, who's the eldest daughter of Priam and Queen Hecuba. After dragging her from the statue of Athena. Then the women come out and they express how much they suffered. at the hands of the Greeks. There's a Greek herald. His name is Thalithebius, and he arrives and tells the dethroned queen what will happen to her children. Hecuba will be taken away with Odysseus, and Cassandra is destined to become Agamemnon's concubine. So Cassandra has gone mad to the curse that Apollo has on her, and we see that in Agamemnon. That same curse where she knows that Clytemnestra is going to kill her and Agamemnon, but nobody will listen to her. Andromache, and that's Hecuba's other daughter, who's a widow, learns that her daughter has been killed as a sacrifice at the tomb of Achilles. And she's going to be the concubine of what's his name? Looking at the script. I rather it's on your computer. Neoptolemus. Yeah, that's not right. And Thalithebius tells her that her other son, Stynax, is condemned to die, because it was feared that he would grow up to avenge the death of Hector. So that's why they're killing him. Helen, who's not one of the Trojan women, is also suffering. And as you see, this play is, although it's about the Trojans, it's more about the sufferings of women. How they become slaves to men, how they are abused in classical society. So I think Helen provides an interesting contrast to the Trojan women. So Menelaus arrives and he takes his death sentence for her, and she begs and entrusts to do him to spare her life, but he decides that he's going to kill her anyway. At the end of the play, we learn that she doesn't die; she's saved. And Thalithebius enters carrying Andromache's son on Hector's shield. She had wished to bury the child herself, but her ship had already departed. So Thalithebius gives the corpse to Hecuba, who prepares the body of her grandson for burial before being taken off by Odysseus. And these women are like mourning the loss of their land and everything. So let's talk about characters. Okay. Well, first of all, I do want to say this play is more tragic than a tragedy. It is very woeful, very, very melancholy, depressing. When you think about it, hard to bear. Just it shows the true misery of these characters, and what becomes of them. I guess the tragedy started before the play began, because these Trojans were in higher places. What was their error? I mean, I guess it was the error of the men. I'd have to say, for having stolen Helen with the Trojan horse. But they are defeated, and now the women have to suffer for the actions of the men. They become concubines, while the men are all pretty much dead. So, but the gods, of course, they're loyal to the Greeks, not to the Trojans. So I don't know about, like, we don't know about so much about the lifestyle of the Trojans. I mean, honestly, yeah, we don't. Let me look this up. One. I mean, the Trojan War was mythology, first of all. It wasn't like, the Persian War and the War of Sparta and Athens. Troy was a city, located in, which is located in Turkey. At the time, yeah, that's Troy. But my guess is they had gods and goddesses of their own. I don't know. I don't know about Trojan mythology. I don't think there is such a thing as Trojan mythology, because it was centered around the Greeks. In the Greeks told this story about the Trojan War as a way to show how powerful they were. So anyway, but the gods were on their side, on the Greeks' side, so clearly not on their side. But Athena decided to have a discussion, and they're talking about how to punish the Greek armies because standards. So here, for the first time, we see Poseidon, we see Athena sympathizing with the Trojans, and these are gods we're talking about. So while they're on the side of the Greeks, I mean the Greeks obviously worship them. They're talking about ways to punish the Greeks. So this play is, with that first scene, we see how Euripides is sympathizing with the Trojans, how he is criticizing the ways of the Greeks in a way, which is interesting, and I'll be talking about that. The three Trojan women, Hecuba, Cassandra, and Andromache. Hecuba is the mother, Cassandra and Andromache are the daughters. So all three of them are sent away to be concubines to the Greeks. Basically, sex slaves. They've lost their husband, they've lost their land. Andromache and Hecuba have lost their children. And the way I put, so yeah, I mean, losing these people to war is like, I mean, losing a big part of you, losing your children, losing your husband is all like losing a huge part of you. My interest in Helen is how she sympathizes with these characters. Because, I mean, Helen was the whole reason the Trojan War started, pretty much. Well, one of the reasons. When Helen was captured by the Trojans, by Paris. And yet, there's a common bond between Helen and these Trojan women. They all suffer because they're women. They're captured, they're treated poorly. And we are meant to sympathize with them, definitely. And the whole chorus is Trojan women. Interestingly enough, we have Euripides, this is Medea that I've read, and then this play. And then both of these plays are offering a chorus of women. So much more feminine voices. All these Trojan women are sort of doomed. Thales Thebes, he's much more than Harold. He delivers pain onto these characters. He is a bearer of bad news. I mean, the duties he performs, pretty much, I don't know how to put it. I will say this about Menelaus. Menelaus is, an awful, awful person, as is Agamemnon, as are most of the Greeks. As are most of the male figures in Greek mythology. For wanting to kill Helen. But moving on. The gods want revenge. So that's the theme in this play. And Menelaus wants revenge on Helen for having been seduced by Paris. Well, for thinking she seduced Paris. But these women, more than the talk of revenge, because revenge and justice kind of go together. These women do seek justice. They do seek certain renewal. This play is very anti-war. Because this is like, this is the aftermath of the Trojan War. This is what happened to the Trojan people and what became of them. I imagine this play was controversial because, okay, moving into the analysis part of this, it is, in addition to being anti-war, it is anti-Greek. It makes, and has feminist points in it. So, the whole thing about feminism, anti-war, and anti-Greek, the way they all tie in. The women have been abused and taken advantage of by men. Certainly. The war was caused by Paris, really, not by Helen. And so all that to war and just led to an excuse for the Trojans and the Greeks to fight. And certainly the Greeks have this disgusting way that they take these Trojan women as slaves. So that's how anti-war, anti-Greek, and feminism ties in. They all do tie in together. I did want to raise the question of what defines a tragedy. And I'll be talking about this in my bonus video that I'll put up later tonight. So what defines tragedy? In my opinion, noble status, at least in classical, error, downfall, suffering, recognition, catharsis. Does this play do that? No. It's certainly just tragic, but does it have the structure of a tragedy? It doesn't, in my opinion. Maybe because I'm just reading these plays in 110 days, like reading one a day, and I do have other things to do today. I don't have all my time dedicated to doing this, so I really think maybe reading a play 2 or 3 times is more beneficial. I think for anybody, like I get more out of a play reading it a couple of times, 3 times. But moving on to criticism, strong themes, strong ideas, and an insightful view of the other side of things. And I like that it's not predictable. I will say the play moves slowly and the language is boring. The plot's weak. A little on the melodramatic side, and as I said, not a well-structured tragedy. As I said, the feminism comes up as does in the anti-feminist. Well, okay, when I'm talking about feminism, I usually actually mean gender. So I do mean gender. So Agamemnon, libation bearers, Oedipus Rex, Antigone, Medea, this play. Lysistrata, which I'm going to read tomorrow, and anti-war, the Lysistrata, and Sword of Agamemnon. So that's the whole connection to the canon that I've been reading. So that's all I have for this play. Tomorrow, moving on to some comic stuff. So, alright, bye.